Blessing Miller stood frozen on the front porch of the house she had called home for 4 years, a house she had filled with laughter, love, and prayers. But today it felt like a stranger's house. Her caramel skin glistened with sweat, her long, dark, curly hair clinging to her face, damp from the sweltering heat. Or maybe it was the heat of rage burning beneath her skin. Her chest rose and fell quickly, her breathing unsteady, her mind spinning. How had her world unraveled so fast? Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Thank you for always coming back. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Blessing hadn't been feeling well that morning, just a general fatigue that wouldn't let up. So she left the office early, hoping to get some rest. Her husband, John Miller, had told her he'd be out of town for a business meeting with potential investors. She had even packed his suit herself, kissed him goodbye, and wished him luck. But when she pulled into the driveway and saw his red Mercedes parked outside, something inside her chest twisted. Confused, Blessing stepped inside the house. Everything was quiet, too quiet. She walked slowly, each step feeling heavier than the last. As she made her way upstairs, the sound of muffled voices and faint giggles bled through the hallway. Her heart thundered. Her hand trembled on the doorknob. And then she opened it. There they were, John and Sally, her best friend, her maid of honor. The same Sally she had begged John to hire when Sally was down on her luck. And now that same Sally was tangled in bedsheets with her husband. "John!" Her voice cracked, barely a whisper. Her knees threatened to give way beneath her. But John didn't flinch. He didn't scramble for clothes or offer an apology. "Number." He sat up and laughed. A cold, cruel laugh that stabbed through her like a knife. "You should have knocked," he said flippantly, slipping on his shirt like he hadn't just shattered her entire soul. "Or better yet, you shouldn't be here at all." What is this?" she asked, her voice raw with disbelief. John stood, walked past her, and headed downstairs without another word. Still dazed, Blessing followed him down. In the living room, a suitcase, her suitcase, was already waiting for her, stuffed hastily with her clothes. Sally was buttoning up her blouse, her eyes emotionless. John nodded toward the door. "Go on. You don't live here anymore." Her lips quivered. "John, please! What are you saying?" "I'm saying get out," he growled. "You can't give me what I want. A child. An heir. I need someone who can build a future with me. I need someone fertile. I need a legacy." Blessing stumbled backward like he had slapped her. Her voice cracked with pain. "John, we tried. For years. We saw specialists, took treatments." He cut her off. "I don't care anymore. I've moved on." She turned, pleading with Sally now. "How could you? We've been best friends since high school. I fought for you. I gave you a job. Why?" Sally tilted her head, expression cool. "It's nothing personal, Blessing. We just fell in love. It happens." "It happens?" Blessing's soul shattered like glass beneath a hammer. Her fingers tightened into fists. "What about our business, John? Our company? We built it together." John smirked. "You built it? Oh, Blessing. You signed your shares over to me months ago, remember? That stack of papers you signed without reading?" He chuckled coldly. "It's all mine now." Tears welled in her eyes. "And this house? This house belongs to my parents. And trust me," he sneered, "they never wanted you here. You were just a phase." The door opened, The evening breeze blew in, stinging her tear-streaked face like ice. Then he pushed her. Not hard, but enough. Enough to humiliate her. Enough to make it clear she was no longer welcome. The door slammed behind her like a gavel, ending a trial she never knew she was part of. She stood outside, shaking, humiliated, rejected, homeless. With no one else to turn to, she called a taxi with trembling fingers. The driver barely looked at her tear-streaked face as he dropped her off at a modest hotel miles away. And now here she was, sitting on the edge of a cheap hotel bed, a stale comforter wrapped around her like armor she didn't feel. The walls were bare. The silence was suffocating. She sat perfectly still until the dam inside her broke. The sobs started in her throat, choking her, twisting her insides until she fell forward onto the bed, curling into herself like a wounded animal. She wept for the betrayal. She wept for the love she had lost. She wept for the business she had helped build and had been tricked into signing away. She wept for the child she had never carried. She wept for being so foolish, so trusting, so blind. Everything she had believed in, her marriage, her friendship, her future, was gone. And for the first time in 4 years, Blessing Miller was completely, utterly alone. But as the tears soaked the pillow and her body trembled with grief, something small stirred inside her. Not rage, not revenge, but the faintest whisper of resolve. Because this wasn't the end of her story. It couldn't be. And as surely as she had once built something from nothing, she would rise again. But tonight she mourned. And every tear was a seed of the strength that would one day make her unstoppable. The hotel room was still, the silence broken only by the low hum of the air conditioner and the distant sound of car horns in the city night. Blessing lay atop the covers, fully dressed, her clothes wrinkled and damp with tears. Her eyes were swollen, her lashes stuck together with the salt of her grief. Eventually, her body, spent from hours of sobbing, gave in. Her breath slowed, and sleep took her like a thief in the night. Unwanted, unwelcome, but inevitable. But there was no peace in it. She awoke with a gasp, her chest heaving, sweat clinging to her skin like a second layer. Her curls were matted to her forehead, her hands gripping the edge of the pillow as if it were the only thing anchoring her to reality. The nightmare had felt so real. In it, she stood outside her home, banging on the door as John and Sally laughed behind it. She screamed that she loved him, begged him not to do this. But the door never opened. And then, the walls of the house burst into flames, consuming everything. Her marriage, her future, her self-worth. All of it, turning to ash while she stood powerless, watching. She wiped her face with the corner of the blanket, her breath shaky. The morning light spilled lazily through the curtains, but she didn't move. The hours passed, and still she lay there, curled into herself in the fetal position. Her stomach growled softly, but she ignored it. She couldn't eat. She couldn't cry anymore. She couldn't even think. Her eyes stared at the wall, blank and lifeless, like all the color had been drained from her world. She didn't shower, didn't brush her teeth, didn't even pull the sheets over herself. She just existed. Barely. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand, the sound sharp in the heavy stillness of the room. She glanced at the screen with dull eyes. Mary. Her secretary. No, ex-secretary now. Her chest tightened. She let it ring. She couldn't face anyone. Not even Mary. Not yet. The screen went dark. Another day passed like fog. She dozed off and on, tears drying in streaks on her cheeks. The room smelled faintly of sweat and sadness. She hadn't opened the window. She couldn't bear to look outside and see a world that kept spinning while hers had stopped. The phone buzzed again, this time louder, more urgent in the early light of morning. Groggy and raw, she blinked at the screen. Mary. Again. With trembling fingers, she finally pressed accept. Hello? Her voice was barely a whisper, hoarse, weak, and cracked. Blessing? Mary's voice came through, breathless and thick with concern. Oh my God. Blessing, are you okay? Blessing swallowed, but her throat was dry. No, she rasped. No, I'm not. I figured, Mary said softly. It's all over the office. Everyone knows what happened, what he did. It's been a mess since you left. People are talking. But more than that, I was worried about you. You just disappeared. Blessing didn't speak. Her silence was like a wall, heavy and filled with pain. Mary continued, her voice breaking. I'm coming to you, okay? We need to talk. You shouldn't be alone right now. Please don't shut me out. Blessing felt something shift, a crack in the numbness. A part of her wanted to hang up, to go back to sleep and disappear. But another part, the part that still held a flicker of hope, whispered that maybe, just maybe, someone cared. Okay, she whispered, barely audible. Room 306, Ash Grove Hotel. I'll be there in 30 minutes, Mary said. Don't go anywhere. As the call ended, Blessing lowered the phone slowly and curled back into herself, tears brimming again. For the first time in 2 days, she felt something stir in her chest. Still pain, still grief. But now, maybe the beginning of something else. Connection, and maybe the first step toward healing. If you enjoyed this story, please give the video a like, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. See you next time, and remember, love is free.